All right, guys, I really feel like we are living in the most exciting time in tech, like maybe ever. And before you start thinking, yeah, Q, that's a little over the top, let me point out something. Did you know that we are right now in the middle of the fourth AI hype cycle? That's right. People since the 1950s have been trying to do with computers the things that we are doing now with agents. And they weren't successful. And you may be looking at this and say, okay, well, this current boom's going through the present. Why do I think that this is going to be different? This time it's going to be different. If you haven't seen this commercial, it's one of my favorites on YouTube. Trust me, it's going to be different. Anyway, it's a hilarious commercial. So, but actually, if you can look at it, sort of, realistically or objectively, all of the things that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We had to have theoretical foundations that just didn't exist until now. We had to have massive data sets that didn't exist until now. And we had to have ridiculous compute power. And just in case you don't really keep up with sort of the advancements in compute power, I thought this was a really novel comparison. 1 petaflop, what did it take to get there? The first time we hit that was in 2008, and it was ridiculous amounts of effort. This is in everyone on this video stream. This is your lifetime, unless you're under 17. And now we have this awesome little computer over here that NVIDIA is bringing out called Project Digits, and you can do a petaflop on that little guy. That is just nuts. And the reduction in cost, and obviously we have way bigger computers now that can do this, but I just find that just amazing. So, but what's interesting is with all these changes, it's also started to change the way that we write code. And this is the way that writing code looks like today. But if you look at the history of writing code, it's never looked like this. This bears no resemblance to everything since the 1950s. And so I think we started to look at that and go, okay, well, maybe that means we should step back and re-examine our tools and maybe even our abstractions and the way that we look at building software. And that is a big part of what led to Langflow. So let me show you that. So this is the Langflow landing page. We have so much in here to help you get started and take you through some of the canonical use cases that you'll see around AI and agents, and you can click through here. For example, let's just start with just regular vector store RAG. This is what vector store RAG looks like in Langflow. We have an ingest flow down here. This flow up here is inference. This is kind of left to right flow. So if you've been building flows of any kind, data processing flows or whatever, this may look kind of familiar to you. And you can definitely build these. These are really important to be able to build. Langflow makes it super easy. But what about, we're here to talk about agents. What about real agentic flows? So let's take a look at this e-commerce assistant. So just a quick tour around what we have here. We have a high-level orchestrating agent. These inputs and outputs, those are very special in Langflow. Those components allow us to define the entry point and the output, so input and output for a flow. We use that right here in the flow in the UI, but when you have these flows in here, it also wires it into the playground. The playground is where we have the opportunity to experiment. This is sort of the ChatGPT style experience that you might expect. So for example, before I jump into that, I'm gonna rewind and give you a little bit of an overview of what data sources we have available to us. The first one here is store information. So again, think in the e-commerce theme. I need to know about the store. What else do I need to know? Well, I need to know about my users and their orders. So this agent, this is a hierarchical agent setup. So in this one is dedicated just to building queries that can search these open search indexes and look up information on users or their orders. And then we have one more down here that's designated exclusively to searching our product catalog. And you can see here we've also integrated, we have a very tight relationship at DataStax with NVIDIA. We've integrated some of the NVIDIA components here for embeddings, and I'll show you some more of those in just a minute. So let's go take a quick look at the playground. Let's do something pretty basic. let's say, does the store offer a price match guarantee? And so to do that, it's going to have to go look at, and you can see here, the Astro Store info. You can clearly see that it's checking that tool and finding that information, and it found it, and it gave me a good summarized answer. But this isn't just a tool for doing this kind of playground work. We also have this API here. Now, we provide a curl command as sort of like your baseline smoke test, quickest way to check that the API is working. Let me show you what that looks like. So over here, I have just my local command prompt. So I already copy pasted this curl command, and I did have to make one edit. You can see this input value here where it says message. That is the value that gets piped into that input component I showed you earlier, the same component that we're using to wire into the playground. So let's paste this here, do my quick curl command. Behind the scenes, it's just hitting an HTTP endpoint that Langflow is exposed to this same flow. And you can imagine this is exactly the kind of work you would need to do to integrate this with your Python application, your Node.js application, what have you. It's an HTTP endpoint, you can do whatever. And you can see the output here that you can parse. Okay, great. We also provide great starter code for you to use as an example to get you going. So what if I want to do something a little more sophisticated, like I know I have users. I have this little, Brandy Navarro is one of our customers, so I'm in the capacity of an agent working on the agent side of the e-commerce store, and I want it to find Brandy, find her orders, summarize her shopping habits, and then recommend some products you might like. That is a lot of work. There's a lot going on there. All I had to do was come up with just the English request. You can see the job that it had to put together. If I go look over here behind the scenes at my command prompt or my terminal, I can see the magic happening. I can see it build the plan, start executing the tools, get back results. If I run into any errors, I'll see them pop up in here. And the demo gods frowned on me for whatever reason. It didn't find Brandy Navarro. She's in there. So I have this example of what it did earlier. This is the downside. So, it's interesting. In many cases, the thing I love about working with AI is it surprises me. I am routinely surprised, usually in a positive way, but sometimes in the demo gods kind of frowning on me way. But as you can see here, I had the same exact query earlier. It went through. I could sort of look through the list here of all of the steps that it took. It provides, Langflow automatically manages the agent memory, provides the last few lines, of input so that it can keep that context for the LLM. And you can see it went and found this information for me and provided some recommendations based on this customer's prior purchases. That is ridiculously powerful. So the next thing that you probably want to be thinking is, okay, well, that's interesting, but I need to know how I can monitor that. Well, within Langflow, we have great integrations with many LLM ops tools. This one is Arise. This allows me to go in and look through, maybe in a minute I could see why that particular flow decided to go south on me. And so I can do, look through my traces here. I can see attributes and deep details. You can see this in lots of different tools that we integrate with, but I think that in particular we love working with Arise. They're wonderful folks. And okay, so now we have an agent. We've seen how it can orchestrate calls to all of these different tools and provide me summarized results. The last thing I'm going to show you is a couple of coming soon items in Langflow. In our partnership with NVIDIA, we've built components around the NVIDIA AI Enterprise components for data curation and customizer, which is used for fine-tuning or training LLMs. And you'll be able to redeploy these fine-tuned versions using NVIDIA NIMs and then also use standard sort of academic and industry standard benchmarks to evaluate whether your training run was productive. So just like I said earlier, Langflow or the LLMs and probabilistic structures in general can surprise us all the time. AI, that's just AI. But we're on a journey, and with Langflow, I want to invite you to join us in this journey. Please go hit us on GitHub. Be sure and mash that star. We're really excited to have you join this journey with us, and I'm really excited to see what you build that surprises you. Thanks.